How much protein do you really need? Uh-oh, it's time to get controversial in this episode of Ask Yuri.
Ask Yuri. You've got a health and fitness question? I've got an answer.
All right, guys, so this is going to be one of the most hotly debated and discussed topics for the rest of time, and I hope to put an end to some of it right here, right now in this video. So Peggy is asking me, there seems to be a lot of differing opinions out there on how many grams of protein are needed daily to build muscle. What's your educated opinion? Okay, so I devote an entire module to this in Super Nutrition Academy. So before going any further, if you are somebody who's confused about nutrition and you want some really clear evidence-based answers, then I would highly recommend you try Super Nutrition Academy. You can do so at the link below this video, and the reason I put it together is because so many people were asking me these same questions, and I was like, you know what, let's get to the crux of the matter, and I'm going to give you guys the fundamental understanding of how your body works and how nutrition impacts all that, in addition to evidence-based information. So it's not just my opinion. So I'm going to share. First of all, I'm going to answer Peggy's question here. So there's a big confusion amongst this industry, amongst experts with respect to protein. Some people say you need 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. Others say you need 1 gram of protein per kilogram of body weight. So let's just stop there. Okay, I don't know if people are forgetting if it's kilograms or pounds, but that's a huge difference. I weigh 170 pounds. That means I would need 170 grams of protein. I also weigh 68 kilos, somewhere in that area. So if we went on the kilogram perspective, I would need 68 kilograms, or sorry, not 68, that'd be a lot of protein, 68 grams of protein per day. So 68 grams or 170 grams, that's a huge difference, right? So you have to be very clear, like what are we talking about, pounds or kilograms? The reality is that we're talking about kilograms, okay? 170 pounds, and again, there's a lot of, I allude to a lot of the studies that I'm not gonna, talk about here because I just can't remember all of them at the top of my head, but a lot of the studies look at how much muscle you can build over a 12-week period with high protein intake, doing a proper strength training program, and the average is 2 to 7 pounds in 12 weeks, okay? That is the average. And the only significant variable that increased muscle gain above and beyond that was testosterone use. So they did studies with 300 grams of protein, crazy amounts of protein intake, in addition to training like an animal in the gym, 2 to 7 pounds regardless. The only time that needle moved above 7 pounds and started getting pretty significant was when there was testosterone use. And there was one study that actually had one group who just used testosterone and no weight training. And they actually increased their muscle mass more than the group who was weight training with high amounts of protein or weight training alone. Okay, so testosterone is really a precursor to muscle growth. So how do you build muscle? You obviously have to elicit a testosterone response by training properly in the gym, which is obviously above and beyond what we're going to talk about in this video. But with respect to protein, you don't need that much. 0.8 grams per kilogram of body weight is what you need. That seems to be the consensus. And when you look at, on average, when you look at like the 20% recommended protein intake for most individuals, when you look at what that equates to in terms of a representation of a 2,000 calorie diet, that is, so 20% of 2,000 calories is what, 400 calories? 400 calories of protein is, so there's 4 calories per gram. We're looking at about 100. Does that make sense? Again, I'm just using my I can't even. It's amazing when you're not used to calculating in your head how much you have to rely on a calculator. So if you were to have a 2,000 calorie diet at 20% protein intake, that would be 100 grams of protein per day. That is actually more than what you need. Okay, so if you had 10% protein intake, on a 2,000 calorie per day diet, you would have 200 calories coming from protein, 4 calories per gram of protein, would give you about 50. Okay, so let's say I'm just on average 65, or let's just call it 70. So I'm 70 kilograms. If I'm eating 0.8 grams per kilogram, that's roughly about 60 to, somewhere in the 60 to 65 range of protein. That's really simple to get. I mean, in this smoothie that I've been drinking this morning, I have 2 tablespoons of hemp seeds, which is about it's about 15 grams of protein. I've got 2 tablespoons of almond butter. So just those 2 components alone, then I've got almond milk in here. So if I look at the components in this smoothie alone, it's close to about 30 grams of protein. Now, if you add in the fact that you might have a small piece of meat throughout the day, maybe an egg or 2, some nuts and seeds, you easily meet your protein requirements. And again, remember, if you're taking protein in addition to that, whether it's supplemental or just by eating more protein-based foods, you're going to get more than enough. And if you want to build muscle, the key is really going to come down to carbohydrates. Okay, it's not so much about the protein. If you're getting adequate protein, which you should, if you're eating more calories, you'll be fine. The key is going to come down to what you do in the gym. And I'm not saying you should use testosterone, because you shouldn't, but the real significant factor in terms of muscle growth is going to be testosterone. That's why you look at a lot of these bodybuilders nowadays, and they just look like Transformers. They honestly look like Optimus Prime on stage. Like, they're just ridiculous Mack trucks. It's not even natural, and it's because they're juicing, very simply. So, Peggy, hopefully that answers your question. 0.8 grams per kilogram. Don't measure this stuff. You don't need to count your calories. Just eat a normal whole foods based diet. Be conscious of the foods you're eating, and you'll be fine. Okay. If you want to go more to detail with this stuff, again, highly recommend you check out Super Nutrition Academy. There's nothing like it. I mean, I spent 1,000 hours developing the content for this. It's unlike anything out there. We call it the Everyday Person's Nutrition School, because I want to empower you with the level of knowledge that I have, or very close to it, but with only 1 hour of learning per week. So instead of spending hours and hours and hours and hours and hours in school, and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars going through school, with Super Nutrition Academy, you can get a great fundamental understanding of your health needs and how food plays a vital role in that. So check it out. The link is below, supernutritionacademy.com. It's amazing. You're going to love it. And there we go. So thanks for watching. Hopefully that answers your question, Peggy. And for everyone else wondering the same, there you go. I'll see you in the next video.